So we're gonna move on to our last review of the day, and in this, I'm gonna be doing a solo review for the film called Bottoms. Bottoms is a movie starring Rachel Sennett and Ayo Adebri. It's directed by Emma Selgerman, and this is a movie about high school. It's almost like this movie is a little bit of a parody in some ways of high school movies, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But this is also co-written by Rachel Sennett as well as the director Rachel Selgerman, and yeah, so you have these two girls, Rachel Sennett and Ayo Adebri. Both of them, are lesbians, open lesbians in high school, and they basically like they get into some trouble, and they're like, "Well, we're going to start a fight club for other girls in the school because." The school also is in a big rivalry with another high school football team, which they make a big deal out of with the school. Like the whole school is like, "Hey, this is a long, storied rivalry between us and this other team." I forgot the other team's name, but I forgot I got their other name. But yeah, and they're attacking some of the other students. So they're like, "Hey, we're going to make this fight club and teach other girls how to defend themselves." The big issue with that, and where the kind of the comedy comes in, is that Rachel Sennett and Ayo Debris, they don't know how to fight at all. Never been in a fight one day in their life. They kind of have this crazy story that gets spread around the school that they were juvie convicts, and that they killed some people and they shed on them and spit them out and all this other kind of crazy stuff. So, a lot of people go to them like, "Oh, you know how to defend yourself. I mean, clearly you went to juvie, so we're going to listen to you and take your advice." And the character's name, so you have Rachel Sennett who plays PJ, and Ayo Debbie plays Josie in this. And this was a movie I was really looking forward to. It looked really good from the trailer. I was like, "Hey, it looks like a good time. Looks like a great teen comedy that you can watch." And after watching it, I could say I definitely my suspicions were right. I think this is a really good movie, and like I said, it's kind of a really funny, absurd kind of comedy of high school. In ways, it is kind of absurd because you have your traditional kind of elements here of the jock character who's the asshole, but in this, it's played up so kind of like I said, absurd. Like if you notice, you'll see it in the trailer. All of the characters who are jocks, they all wear their football uniforms. In every single scene, they wear their football uniform. There's never a scene of them, even in class, they're still wearing their football uniform. There's never a scene where any of the jocks are not wearing their just regular clothes. You have especially the climax of this movie, what it gets into is so crazy and so wild that I don't know, maybe some people are going to go with it. Maybe you're not going to go with it. And it's kind of, I think, playing up on those things, especially like some of the situations. Marshawn Lynch, who's in this, who I don't know if people know Marshawn Lynch. He's a football player. He used to be a running back for the Seattle Seahawks. And at one time, he's also with the Las Vegas Raiders, or was it the Oakland Raiders at the time that he was on there? But nonetheless, he was a running back there. And he actually has a good supporting role here. He comes in some few scenes and is really good at comedy, some real good line delivery. It may help that a lot of these this dialogue is really good for him to say. That may be a big factor in it. But yeah, he does a really good job here. And it's like sometimes you'll see in like these high school comedies, I feel like it's touching on with him of how you only ever see like one teacher in this whole school, like, and he's the only teacher that you see, even though you do see like a principal, but you don't see any other teacher in the school other than Marshawn Lynch. I think it's also kind of playing up on that, where these kids will have kind of, sometimes you'll watch stuff with high school and it's like, where are the teachers? Like, these kids are getting bullied, and there's no other teacher to be found. So I thought that was kind of great stuff with him. And a lot of stuff they do here, the chemistry between the two leads, Rachel Sennett and Ayo Debris, is really good. Them playing like longtime friends since they were like very children. And one of their primary motivations, for really also starting this fight club is also, you want to have people defend themselves, but it's also the fact that they want to get closer to their high school crushes. Rachel Sennett has a crush on Hazel. Not Hazel. She has a crush on Brittany, who's played by Kaya Gerber. And then Ayo Debris has a very big crush on Havana Rose Liu, who plays Isabel in this. And so it's a way of them also getting much closer to their high school crushes. And they're probably the two most beautiful girls in all of high school. We all had those, people in high school that we found absolutely gorgeous, that we were very attracted to, that we wanted to, date. And those are the two girls here. Isabel dates the asshole jock football player who's the quarterback of the team, Jeff. who the whole school was obsessed with Jeb. The whole school loves him. Again, I think it's playing into that thing, almost like. Did you ever see the movie Not Another Teen Movie? Did you ever
Yeah, I've
see
seen
that?
that. Yeah.
It's kind of like that stuff they do with their, like with the Chris Evans character, like, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like he's just such this huge rock star superstar. Everybody loves him, you know, everybody praises him, everything like that. It's kind of a little bit like that, kind of like
It's
a
where
little
the Hello Fellow
spook.
Kids came from, is it?
Oh, was that weird? I thought that came from 30 Rock, didn't it?
It may have that. It does have one of my favorite scenes of the token guy showing up to the wrong
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, that was a good scene there. But yeah, so it's kind of like that kind of mix of there. So it's kind of like Not Another Teen Movie, kind of plus something like, I would say, that Olivia Wilde movie like Booksmart. It's a little bit of kind of something like that too mixed in there. So yeah, you know, I had a
A
really
little
good
bit of
time.
Easy A.
Maybe a little bit of Easy A, because there's a whole thing where, you know, a little promiscuousness going on a lot.
Mm,
I mean, these girls are very open about being lesbians and having sex with women,
mhm,
which is something that, you know, I think there should be more movies about, obviously, given that. So yeah, being like they say, like I said, they're very openly gay in high school. Like
mhm.
everybody knows they're gay. People write on their lockers F slur number 1 and F slur number 2 on their lockers. So yeah, I mean that's kind of a big thing there. And yeah, there's some kind of really good moments, like with the, like they said, they're training these girls to fight, and they set up a whole, you know, kind of circle where they literally just punching the shit out of each other. I mean, they got no protection, they got no headgear, no gloves, nothing. They're just slamming each other on the ground, breaking each other's nose. It's like Jesus Christ. You know, so that makes for some kind of good stuff there. But yeah, I mean, I had a great time watching this. I mean, a lot of people are loving this movie. I mean, this is getting rave reviews all around. And I was one of those people that very much did enjoy it. There, it's just that the comedy here, it's gonna maybe, I think it's gonna be very distinct to some people. I mean, all comedy is kind of subjective in a sense, maybe not, but you know, I think the way the movie ends and the way it kind of is throughout the movie is gonna really depend on your taste, maybe. Like, I don't know if you're gonna
Mhm,
like it, particularly if you see it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be really particular for maybe your kind of style of humor there.
mhm.
I'd even throw a little bit of kind of like the raunchiness of it, like a Super Bad, like another high school
Mm.
movie, kind of like that level of kind of raunchiness there too, that you kind of have. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this a lot. I would give it a strong tune in. Yeah,
Mhm.
kind of a strong tune in, maybe lowish peak area. So yeah, that was some of my thoughts on Bottoms.